Okay, so what I thought I'd do for my next video is, a couple weeks ago, I took a bunch of games that I had down to a place called Roosters in the mall. They actually, in the Newgate Mall, they actually gave you pretty good trade. I was really surprised. One of the caveats in the trade-in is that you have to spend your trade-in money that day. It doesn't go into a savings, into an account. You don't get a certificate, nothing like that. It's just what you get, you have to spend that day. So I took a bunch of stuff. I was hoping to get a Switch OLED. And took a bunch of stuff that I had, mostly 360 stuff. There was also a 3DS and a PlayStation Vita that I traded in. Now, most of the places won't even give you much trade at all for that. I tried GameStop, just checking their trade-in values. Really bad. So I took it there, hoping to get enough trade to get a Switch OLED, because they had them in stock. And it's funny, because as he's adding up all the stuff, because I had, a few stacks of 360 games, and then a bunch of the DS games, and the DS system itself, and I had an Xbox One, an old one. Just had a bunch of stuff that I took in. Now, when you take that stuff in and you get cash for it, you don't get very much at all. I mean, literally pennies on the dollar. But I ended up with enough to get a Switch OLED and a couple other things that I'll talk about later. But I did get the Switch OLED, and it was kind of nice not having to actually pay for it. I mean, obviously I did with the stuff I bought previously, but that stuff was from years ago, like pre-marriage dates. But I got the Switch OLED, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about it, because I've seen a lot of people, they want the OLED, and they already have a Switch, and there's a couple of things that you really need to think about before you get rid of your Switch for the OLED. So if you are satisfied with your original Switch, and if you play mostly on your TV, do not get the Switch OLED. Just that simple. Just do not get it. If you do not have a Switch yet and you're looking to get one, getting the Switch OLED might be a good idea. It's actually really, I'll go over the differences, but it is pretty fantastic. I mean, I love the Switch. I love the original Switch, and I love the Switch OLED. So what I did was traded in for that, got the Switch OLED, and let's talk a little bit about the differences. The main difference, here's my new Switch OLED, and the main differences are the screen size. The screen is, literally that much bigger around the borders, but it's amazing how much that really does impact gaming in handheld mode. So you got a bigger screen. It is OLED, so the colors are crisp. The images are actually really, really improved. If you're into the color spectrum type things where that's a big deal, the Switch OLED is actually fantastic. The controllers are the same. The kickstand is different. The original had a very thin tab that would go out. This has the whole back of the system pops out as the stand. This is so much better. I wish they had done this on the original one. So that is a definite improvement. As far as the system's capabilities, there is no difference. So it still has the same processor, same amount of RAM, all that stuff. The system is the same. Okay? So also the dock is different. They have not come out and said specifically what the dock improvements are inside, because there is an extra processor inside. And I have not read so far what that's used for, but there is an extra chip inside the dock. It does auto-update the firmware, which is actually really nice. And the dock itself is white now. And then in the back of it, instead of having a USB port inside, where the old one, the panel would open up and you would have power and the power and the HDMI cord, and then you would have an extra USB slot. Well, they took out the USB slot and put in an RJ45 jack. So that's great. I mean, it needed to be able to be wired, because before you would have to buy an adapter to get it wired. And then they have the two USBs on the outside of the system still. And that's great for, hooking a cord up so you can charge your controller and stuff. With the controllers, I still recommend getting the Pro controller. Pro controller is a good controller. I mean, I do like it. My only beef with it is the shoulder buttons are digital, so there is no analog triggers. It's got the two sticks, and that's cool. It's got the face buttons. Everything is great about it, but it does not have analog triggers, which kind of sucks for racing games and such. But the controller is excellent. If you have a Switch, I highly suggest getting a Pro controller. Don't play it without a Pro controller. So the system itself just looks good. When you're buying it, it will say OLED on the box. So make sure you get the OLED if you're buying it now. So a quick plug real quick for the Xbox Series S. Right now you can get it for $239, which is an absolute steal, because this Nintendo Switch is over $300 still. You can get them between $312 and about $360, just depending on the store and what they include with it. But the Series S is actually a fantastic system. I'll do another video on that, what I think of it now. But just saying, for the price, if you're looking at the OLED as a second Switch system, seriously, get a Series S. But and real quickly, one thing that people will point out, and it shows their ignorance. It shows they don't know what they're talking about when they say that Nintendo is a kids system. Okay, there are so many games on there that are mature rating, which I hate that statement, mature rating. It's like you're mature if you have content that is violent, sexual, profane. It should say immature content, but there is so much immature content on here, it's ridiculous. And then people will say, well, it doesn't have the power to run the games. Okay, that's been proven wrong so many times, and people can just, if they say that, Nintendo does need to update the power of the system. It does. It's lagging behind the other systems, but to say that it can't run the big games is wrong. They have amazing ports of games like the Borderlands, The Witcher, The Walking Dead, The Outer Worlds, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. And one that people thought could never happen was Doom Eternal. And it actually runs really well on the Switch. So I never want to hear you say, oh, it can't run the other games. They don't have mature content. It's just a system made for kids. That's bull. So, the system is impressive in its color, and I do like the OLED screen, but if you already own a Switch, don't spend the money. If you already own a Switch, get an Xbox Series S. Like I said, I'll do a video on that. I am highly impressed with that system. But I got the Switch OLED model, and I think it's fantastic. I mean, I love the Switch. I love all the systems, but I love the Switch. And then you could buy some really cool, add-ons for it, like you can get from Nintendo the original NES controllers. You can also get Super Nintendo controllers, which is, it was fantastic for the time, and it's still a great controller. They do have a Nintendo 64 controller for it, but you can't get a hold of them unless you want to pay $1 million on eBay. It's ridiculous. But some of the draws to the Switch are the old classics. They have the Nintendo 64, NES, Super NES, Sega Genesis. They have a bunch of games that if you're a a member of the online, which is $20 a year for the basic, and then $50 a year if you want to add the Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games. Membership also comes with the additional content for games such as Mario Kart, Animal Crossing, just the Nintendo brand games. Usually the expansion packs, they'll include that in their online service as an incentive to keep paying every year. So, but Nintendo Switch OLED, I do like it. I think it looks beautiful, the screen, the picture, the colors, but it is the same Switch. It plays the same games, does not enhance performance in any way. It just looks a little better, has a little bit bigger screen. And if you don't have a Switch and you want one, then definitely get the OLED. If you, like I said, if you play primarily on your TV, don't even give it a thought. It's like, if you have the old one, keep the old one. If you play handheld mostly and you're wanting a new Switch, maybe you dropped it or something, but if you need a new Switch, get the OLED. But I decided to make a video of that because that was pretty cool that I was able to trade in that stuff, and I got that and a couple other items which I'll do a video of later. So I did get the OLED Switch and the Pro controller with the money I had, and I actually had more money to spend. I got quite a bit of trade there, and so my wife inherited my old Switch, and I got her own copy of Animal Crossing, her own copy of Minecraft. So it was pretty good. It was really good. So to wrap it up, Switch OLED. If you don't have a Switch and you're interested in the Switch, it's great. You might be thinking, but isn't their next system going to be coming out soon? Yes. And so you might want to put off, who knows? I don't know what Nintendo's doing. Who knows what Nintendo's doing? You can never tell what they're thinking. And for all we know, they're going to ride this system for another 3 years. Who knows? But if you're in the market for a Switch, get the OLED. It's just that simple. All right. Have a good one.